In my previous video on this topic, I left out my reasoning for my full-throated support of the Stop Killing Games initiative. This is an oversight I wish to address in this video. If you don't know much about me, and you shouldn't, I am a UW Stout grad with a degree in computer science and game design. I have never had an industry job, and I've participated in the production of around 5 games. Video games, that is. 6 if you count board games. I've also made my own mobile game, which will be linked below if you would like to judge me. But really, none of that matters. I'm a gamer. Used to be a Nightmare Raider in Star Wars The Old Republic. I have hundreds of hours in WoWs, World of Warcraft, Star Wars The Old Republic, League of Legends, Hearts of Iron, Total War. I play all types of video games. Well, most types of video games. Games are what I do to hang out with friends, relax, work. Now, I know what you're thinking. What the hell is he talking about? Well, I want you to know my perspective. And that is what informs my opinion on Stop Killing Games. I'm not trying to sell you the next live service game. I haven't worked on a live service game, but I play them. I enjoy some of them. I don't think they should go away. I am a gamer first and foremost. It's as simple as that. So, let's talk the Stop Killing Games initiative. It's literally just as simple as that. It is its entire point of existence is to give in this case, the EU government, the ability to force developers to make sure their games run when they're done with them. That's the entire proposal of the law. It doesn't really get into the nitty-gritty details of like how they're supposed to do that. No reasonable person would argue that World of Warcraft must work exactly as it does right now. That costs thousands, probably millions of dollars worth of servers and server tech and coders and devs upkeeping all that. No, it just has to do something. And as I think there is some confusion on this, the proposal is supposed to be vague. You have a word count. You're actually not supposed to try to write the law. That's for the lawmakers. Games are art. Some of them are bad art. I'm looking at you, Concord. But in this late age of live service games, we're gonna have more and more games be ripped away from us. Maybe you spend, if League goes down tomorrow and isn't playable anymore, I'm out like a lot. $2,000? It was over like 15 years. I had a problem. It's fine. But, they don't need to go. Private WoW servers have existed for time immemorial. Well, that's not true, but they've been around a while. League of Legends has an offline tournament server. I'm sure that's not that far away from, well, I'm actually not sure, but I imagine it isn't too far away from a local host type situation. It's not that, these games aren't impossible to decouple from their home server architecture. They're not, that could be very expensive for games that are already established, but maybe not. Like, Deep Rock Galactic just has like a server manager. What if that's just what League of Legends is now? Ross, in his video, has convinced me that getting this law passed is the biggest... It's the closest thing to a silver bullet we can get to just preserve this art form. Concord is dead and it didn't live a month. Maybe nobody would want to play that. It certainly didn't appeal to me, but there's probably something in that game worth saving, and I hope that lives on in something or someone. And quite frankly, and I've seen this bandied about, I reject the idea that games must die. They'll grow old just like each and every one of us, but they can live as long as we do, humanity does. And given a little luck, they can entertain, enlighten, and inspire future humans to make better games and to be better people. God of War almost all of the God of Wars have a decent story. The first one is like a magical, is a immaculate Greek tragedy. Before I go any further, I've got a little bit of a story to tell. My good buddy, let's call him by his gamer tag Rage Whale, would tell me, especially late, like 1 to 2 p.m. or a.m., about one game in particular. He had other games, but this is one of the most common he brought up. City of Heroes. He always told me how its minion system's great and you could combine different styles and like you could raise people from the dead or whatever. I don't really I always listened, but I didn't understand. And quite frankly, he's a sucker for zombie and minion classes, so if you're making one of those, you should, reach out to him. Easy bait. But the other month, probably 2 months ago at this point, he discovered that there was an unofficial City of Heroes server out there. And what ensued was a rediscovery of his childhood happiness and growing up. It was quite a thing to see. It was joyful. Somebody coming back to a game that they thought was dead and buried, having all of the bits and pieces he remembers. And on top of that, there was like a developer team expanding the game and keeping it up and running. And they had the permission of NCSoft. So they made the game playable, they upkept it, and they're expanding it. And honestly, that's a testament to each and everyone involved in that game. And it's a clear example of like what the Stop Killing Games initiative is all about. If players wish to keep a game, then we need to be given the tools to do that. If you've made it this far, I hope you're doing well. And if you have any specific questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Like, subscribe, mail me cat pictures, the usual. Goodbye.